everyone again to this video conference called The Law of the Pendulum. Well, let's draw something similar to a pendulum. Well, in the ancient times, the dogma of evolution didn't exist. All those wise people understood that, for example, talking about historical processes, they were developing themselves always according to the law of pendulum, right? So when we talk about pendulum, we are talking at the same time something like a synonymous to understand this better is when we talk about evolution and evolution, right? A rise is followed by a decline, right? And it is typical in not only talking about the processes of the society, but also our own particular and personal processes, right? Now, let's talk about the law of the pendulum with more examples, right? Here, we talk about activity. Now, passivity. And we've lived, without exception, times in our current human existence where we are very active, or some other times or epochs or stages of our inner processes where we are passive. Activity and passivity is a reality inside of each one of us, right? Another one, for example, pleasure, pain. These are psychological extremes. We've felt pleasure instants in our life due to any specific event or circumstance that we've faced, right? And for sure pain moments as well, right? For example, we've lived splendor moments, but also decadence moments. Splendor moments when, for example, we are growing up, right? When we are teenagers, when we are, yes, young, we feel splendor moments that we are facing and living splendor situations and events. But at the same time, when we get older, definitely we are in a decadence also, right? Another, talking about the societies and for sure about us, each one of us, in some stages or moments or instants of our life, we've lived moments of spiritualism, but for sure moments where, for example, we don't have the desire of working spiritually. triumph, or for example, failure. For sure, we've faced triumph moments and failure moments or instants in our lives, right? Desperation, for sure. We've been into these inner states, but also we've felt moments of hope. And this is a reality not only in each one of us, but at the same time in the history of our societies, of the different civilizations that have existed in our Earth planet. Talking about the different societies that have existed here. Alright? When we talk about this law of the pendulum, it's necessary to understand that each one of us, all of us without exception, are pendulars, because these psychological states, these inner states, have been a reality in our psyche. We've felt all these and each one of these extremes, right? This is a mechanical law. The law of the pendulum is one of the 48 laws that govern us, that control us in our Earth planet. So for sure, one of the goals of this conference is to know, to understand, to learn gradually, little by little, how to transcend it. The goal, the purpose is to transcend the law of the pendulum. And when we talk about these extremes are tied to the pendulum motion. Due to any call, for example, we go to one extreme of the pendulum and we feel pleasure, probably we receive a specific call, or we face a talk and we are in pain. We suffer an accident, we feel pain, right? Right? For example, in a table tennis match or in a soccer match, basketball match, we may feel triumph, but at the same time, when, for example, we start our own company, etc., probably we may broke, right? So it's possible to face what does failure mean. There are some instances in our life where we are desperate, but some other times due to anything that we feel hope. So these are extremes of our psyche. Alright? These are not correct because are extremes. And all extremes are negative. All extremes, psychologically, emotionally, sexually, instinctively, talking about the motor part, are negative, are wrong. All these extremes of our psychology, of our psyche, waste our energies. Right? So this pendulum motion it is responsible for example, raising new civilizations. Right? But also, the law of the pendulum is in charge of bringing all those great and unique civilizations to the extreme until they disappear. Alright? Everything rise and decline. Everything in life. Unless we transcend that law. Everything in life, no matter what it is tied to the law of the pendulum. Right? If these are psychological defects, inner states, subjective inner states in each one of us, uh, and they do govern us. They do control our destinies, our lives, our emotional moments, our psyches, how to transcend them. Well, it's necessary to place ourselves, and this is a long process, a whole process. It's necessary to place ourselves at the critical point. The critical point is the truth, right? Because each one of these inner states passes and remains back in time, right? But it's necessary to feel permanently the truth. If we apply psychological death, that inner petition to our divine mother, when we feel each one and the rest of the different type of psychological defects, subjective elements, anger, morbosity, pride, laziness, all these psychological defects, moments, instants, only instants of happiness, or instants or minutes or even months of frustration, depression, if we apply here to our psyche, to all those inner psychological negative states, the psychological death, gradually we transcend all of them, right? At the same time, we release, which is right, the truth, which is trapped inside of each one of our psychological defects, and we'll place ourselves at the critical time. Also, like a second condition to place ourselves at the critical point, it's necessary to practice analysis, to reflect on all these extremes that we've faced and still we are feeling, we are facing in our current existence. Right? Analysis, reflection, and psychological death, that inner petition to our Divine Mother when we are in an inner state, for example, of depression, frustration, anger, pride, negative sexual desires, when we feel pain, emotional pain, mental pain, when we feel that we fail doing something in our life, those inner states of desperation, etc., and so on, we'll place ourselves at the critical point. The critical point is at the center of the pendulum. So if we delete all these extremes, because all extremes are negative, are bad, not only for our own good, but also and even for a common good, we'll know the truth. Right? To place ourselves in the center of the pendulum, to know the truth, to know what it is, we should learn something called comprehension. Comprehension. Comprehension is the consequence of analyzing. Comprehension is the result of reflections. Each time more and more deeper reflections and analysis to finally comprehend something in life. Alright? So that's why we say here that we must learn to place ourselves at the critical point. Right? Because like that is how we contemplate the two extremes in order to transcend them. Through the inner state of self-observation, observing each one and Gradually, all our extremes, psychologically, emotionally, sexually, instinctively, talking about the motor unnecessary reactions, unnecessary reactions, we'll learn how to place ourselves at the critical point in order to transcend them, to comprehend ourselves instead of letting ourselves to be governed and controlled by each one and all these inner states, negative inner states. Deleting them through the elimination of each one of our extremes, taking advantage of this current entire existence, we learn to place ourselves in the middle of the pendulum. Here is the truth. So, the truth is inside of each one of our psychological defects, of each one of our extremes. Right? We must avoid polarizing ourselves in the intellect or in the sex to achieve comprehension. The comprehension is a faculty of the heart. Comprehension is a faculty of the heart that allows us to reconcile the extremes. Through self-observation, we start this inner path to contemplate our own extremes. And through the elimination, the deleting of each one of them, we'll know the truth, which is the same as knowing our own inner being. Our inner being is inside, trapped, of each one of our psychological defects. Many people like speaking about the truth. Where is the truth? How could I achieve it? How could I deserve it? How could I get it? Inside of each one of us, of our entire ego, is the truth, which is our same inner being. But if we continue with all those subjective theories about life, or if we polarize ourselves in all those sexual concepts without analyzing them, without reflecting on them, we'll never comprehend them. So, analysis, reflection, and the literal elimination of all these psychological extremes, emotional extremes, sexual extremes, all those theories, concepts about reality we have, will give us the experience of the truth. Right? And the experience of truth only comes when we have deleted the undesirable elements that as a whole they constitute the myself. Right? The truth is not related what has been said or not said. The truth is not related with what has been written or not written. The truth only comes to us when we've deleted our ego. Please, we have built too many concepts about reality, about the truth, about the real. But the truth only comes to us when we have died in ourselves, psychologically. For sure, we are talking about ego here. Ego is the responsible of all our sufferings. If we learn to sacrifice the pain inside of each one of us, and both extremes give us pain, pleasure, and that's not right, no one of them is right, no one of them is real, till they pass anyway, we'll experience the truth someday. Alright? From instant to instant, we lose the truth. That is something unknown for each one of us. The truth is in the center of the pendulum. And if each one of us is pendular, we should learn to place ourselves in the center of each one of us. Self-observation is the beginning to analyze ourselves, all those inner psychological, emotional, sexual, etc., inner states, to conciliate them, to understand them, in order to finally transcend them through the psychological death, through the elimination of each one of them, to finally release wisdom and love, which at the same time are our same inner being. Remember, comprehension is a faculty of the heart that allows us to transcend our own extremes. If we want to comprehend others' behaviors, others' lives, firstly, it's mandatory to comprehend ourselves. We may have opinions, ideas, arguments, theories about anything, but those are only concepts. The truth is not something to talk about. The truth is something to experience permanently inside of each one of us. And that's only possible when the myself, which is our same ego, has died. We'll be insisting as much as we can here in the elimination of our psychological defects, in order to understand ourselves better, to finally comprehend ourselves correctly and objectively. Right? Truth is something that should be experienced in a direct way. As for example, you put your finger in a flame, in the fire, right? It is exactly the same. Any one of us can write, can say anything about the truth. But this is not something to write about. It is not possible. When someone asked to Master Jesus, the highest hierarchy of our whole universe, what is the truth? He kept a deep silence. Even the highest hierarchy didn't say anything about truth. He just kept a deep silence because truth is something to experience. When Master Buddha was asked about it again, he did the same as Master Jesus and walked away. Master Buddha kept a deep silence and walked away. Our ego makes up a lot of different theories about truth, concepts, psychological structures, psychological theories, with incredible and strange terms, but this is only something done to occult our own ignorance. Each one of us, all of us without exception, have the truth inside, but this only comes to us if we delete entirely our ego, to feel it from that moment on, from instant to instant. That's why we say here that it's better to self-explore ourselves, to self-observe ourselves, to finally know ourselves and experience someday in reality the truth. Again and again and all over again. Man, know yourself, and you shall know the universe and its gods. Right? Always in life, we'll experience a rise and a decline, a rise and a decline. We should praise ourselves at the critical point, where is located here in this try of graphic, the critical point. The critical point is located here in the middle. Right here in the middle of the rise and of the decline is located the critical point, which is the same as here in this graphic. If we learn to place ourselves gradually at the critical point of each one of us, of ourselves, we'll know ourselves, we'll see our own extremes, and with the inner petition to our Divine Mother, we'll be deleting, eliminating our own pendulums, our extremes, daily. This is a daily process of purification. To, at the same time, place ourselves here in the middle of our own pendulum until we transcend it someday. When we transcend our own law of the pendulum, will be the truth. Our beloved ego must be deleted, eliminated, not only for our own good, but also for a common good. When ego dies, our consciousness awakes to see the reality of all phenomena of nature. Our consciousness knows what she experiences by herself. the cruel reality of life, beyond the body, beyond our affects, our attachments, and beyond the mind. Thank you very much for attending again this conference. Have a good day, and if there is any question, again, any doubt about it, please let me know, and shortly I will respond. Okay? Bye.